We are calibrated to the way things work, and so there are no unnecessary wild goose chases. Once you get it, everything in the universe trends on these laws. So once you get a sense of what they are, and you're able to understand what clicking into something really feels like, then even though you sometimes aren't standing right where you want to be, it's not without knowing how to get there with a little different focus, yes? Esther says to several of her friends, that was so insightful. She said, boy, did you ever download that just now? In other words, she hears it around the dinner table and with friends on the telephone and with her daughter. In other words, you can just feel when you're clicked in, and you can feel resonance when someone with you is expressing something that's really tuned in, tapped in, and turned on. So it happens to everyone depending upon what's going on in the vibrational atmosphere. But there has to be enough stability is maybe one word, but enough trending, enough familiarity in that energy that you can maintain it no matter what's going on in the atmosphere around. In other words, it takes some calibrating and some feeling until you really know that you're on a wavelength that is steady for you. And so the fact that it's happening, that's really good. Just don't jump into it until you really know that you're in that place. Esther said, after Jerry made his transition, she said shortly after, it's weird that the weirdest thing in my life, which is us, she's talking about us, is the only thing that ever feels normal to me. But it was because the stability of that long time stability, that was something that was solid while everything else in her world was a little bit upside down for a while. You see, you get the sense of what we're talking about. Here's a good way to approach this. Sometimes you say, Esther has said, I have enjoyed so much what I'm learning about how this all works, and now I've got a handle on it. And now I am a deliberate creator, mostly. I am a deliberate creator, and I like it. And I don't know how ready I am to make my transition and be a stupid body that is going to have to not know all this stuff for a while. And what we say to that is, you're always going to have the continuity of your inner being. The laws of the universe are always consistent, and you are always this evolving, expanding being, and you don't have to worry about letting something that was of value get away from you, because the value always comes forward with you. That's what you're helping us say. The value always comes forward with you. When you make your transition into non-physical, when you reemerge into non-physical, you become all that you've asked for, and you leave behind every piece of resistance. It doesn't transfer into the non-physical, and it's from that place of non-resistance that you make the decision to come back into this physical body. Well, you could, if you really grasped what we just said to you, you could do that in just about every moment of your life experience. You could take who you have become and what you know and what you're positively anticipating. You could take it forward into the next and into the next and into the next and into the next. There's no reason to have contrast just because it's a new experience. You get to the place where you're so good at trending in alignment with your inner being that you can live in this physical body among the people of the world, different from most of them in this way. You don't trend and calibrate to the problems of the world. You trend and calibrate to the solutions of the world. You don't trend and calibrate to what used to be. You trend and calibrate to what's becoming. It's a very different approach to life experience that many people have discovered, but they are rare. But it doesn't need to be rare. It doesn't need to be rare at all. This is not difficult at all. What you're leading up to is that everything that momentarily seems like it's not a good thing is not necessarily not a good thing. Because things are always working out for you. That means everything that's coming is part of it working out. And when you know that, then you don't freak out and miss opportunities and miss good feelings and slow it down. What does easy mean to you? A lot of people, what easy means is doing nothing beyond what I'm doing right now. That's really easy. Some people mean easy. They mean something very complicated happened more easily than I thought it would, because I didn't understand the laws of the universe and I didn't know how many cooperative components were involved. But a really good way for you to get that in a place that really works for you is, this was as easy as I would let it be every step along the way. Or you could say, you'll feel this one, it gets easier and easier for me. It gets easier and easier as I understand it more. Oh, it gets easier and easier for me as I pay attention to how I'm feeling more. Oh, it gets easier and easier for me as I read the signs of my inner being. Oh, it gets easier and easier for me as I remember that is a path of least resistance. Oh, it gets easier and easier for me as I follow the feelings that feel the best. Oh, it gets easier and easier for me as I leave all the humans that I'm so used to calibrating to out of the equation, because they distract me this way and 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 this way. See, what happens with most is that when someone is in alignment with Source and holding you as their object of attention, it can feel so good to you because they're all tuned in and they're seeing the best in you. And if you're somewhere in the vicinity of alignment, then it can be a really mutual thing where you just sort of solicit it from each other. We talk a lot about how most humans are living a conditional love, which means you behave in a certain way, and then all I have to do is notice you, and then my noticing you will cause me to feel this way. Unconditional love is tuning to Source and then looking around, and what you see looks good to you when you're tuned to Source. Your work is to tune yourself so that you're attracting from wherever you are things that match that alignment. This is an inside job, you see. And so if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would say, there is nothing more important to me than to first come into alignment with Source energy. That is number one. And then we would say, I believe that we are here in order to do that. Is what I most want to do. But I don't think that we were sent here to find that with any expectation of any reasonable Source energy, that would be a position that we would ever be able to hold stably. I believe that we're here in order to know what we don't want so that we know what we do want. And I want to calibrate to love. I want to calibrate to Source. I want to calibrate to what is good. I want to calibrate to clarity and well-being. But I am not ever going to strive for that sort of perfection, because I know that we are evolving beings. And in order to know what we do want, we have to know some of what we don't want. And if we're not flexible, if we're not easy, if we're not capable of forgiveness, if we're not capable of being able to hold our alignment, if you stood before Jesus dripping your illness, he didn't see your illness. He knew your wellness. Jesus didn't go into an arena of sick people and say, I'm going to need you to all get well so that I can observe you. I'm not going to be able to hook into the Holy Spirit and heal you unless you're healed first. We're giving you some good lines. Are you writing these down? You see, creation is about focus. And focus is about thought. An accurate focus is about deliberately reaching for thoughts that have a certain frequency, which means you have to care about how you feel. So you have to feel your way into your thoughts. Do I want to be too busy, or do I want to be bored? Really? Those are your only choices? And it's because you trend accidentally. You trend with sloppy observation instead of with deliberate intention. Are you following us? So how would somebody trend more deliberately? By getting up in the morning, doing the first thing that is important to you, which is coming into concert with your inner being, and then make a list of 5 things that matter most to you. Just make that list. 5 things that matter most to you. Nobody else gets to decide what they are, and they won't be the same thing to you in every single day. And if they are the same thing to you in every day, then your list is too general and not being specific enough. But what you will begin to show to yourself with just that simple new approach to your day, do most important thing first, tune in to broader perspective, who knows everything about you, who knows everything you want, and then you tune yourself to what your inner being already knows. And if you're too general in that, if what you focus upon isn't up to speed with what your inner being knows you're ready to receive, you'll feel bored. And if it's too specific, you'll feel overwhelmed or tension. Are you following us? This is what calibration is. You got to feel your way to it. Sometimes people say to us, Abraham, I was just bipping along, and then out of the blue, this happened. And we say, was not out of the blue. It was out of the oblivious. It didn't come out of the blue. It's been trending. It's been trending, which means when it got there in what you're calling out of the blue, and you don't like it, you've been trending in the direction of things you don't want and away from things that you do want, which means you've been putting up with a whole lot of negative emotion unnecessarily because you hold the keys to that. If when it comes out of the blue, you love it, if when it comes out of the blue, it thrills you, it's not coming out of the blue, but when it shows up, when it suddenly bursts into your seeing. Do you know the phrase that we offer so often about thoughts turning to things, thoughts turning to things, thoughts turning to things? Well, there is a manifestational point for everything. And the thought that occurs to you is one of those manifestational points. But there are more and more and more and more. And the more vivid those manifestational points become, then the more reality it is. So, can you feel that what we are wanting to draw you into deciding is that you're going to be a vibrational understander. You're going to be a laws of the universe understander. You're going to be an emotional guidance system understander. You're going to get the basics down, and then you're going to apply these basics that you understand by thinking and feeling and thinking and feeling and thinking and feeling. That's how you deliberately trend. If you're just running around the world and then responding to what your kids say and responding to what your mate says and responding to what your neighbor says and responding to what the government says and responding to what the television says, if you're just responding, you're not deliberately trending. And the world is not going to be good for you because you are the one who advocates for you. Now, your inner being is advocating for you, but your inner being is not thinking for you. Your inner being is taking the thoughts that you have thought about what you want and is amplifying them and shoring up this law of attraction and gathering the cooperative components. But you know, the cooperative components have been gathered for so many things that you have not yet let into your life experience. Why is that? You asked for it, it lined up, the law of attraction gathered it, and your inner being held the focus. Why is it not manifested in your life experience yet? Because you don't pay attention to your trending. You're all over the place. When you practice thoughts that are not in vibrational sync with the laws of the universe, your life is going to unfold in a way that you don't like. And then you're going to blame that one and that one and that one and that one, and you're going to have no control of your own life experience. Didn't you come to this forum? Isn't the reason that you're here, isn't the reason that you want to play with us in this way? Aren't you here to become deliberate? Don't you want to have control of your own life experience? But before you can have control of your life experience, you've got to have control of your thoughts. And before you can have control of your thoughts, you've got to know what emotions are about. You've got to deliberately trend, you say. So be easy about it. Be easy about it.